you'll notice it's horrible. Right, one of the fastest ways you can make your 4x4 or your vehicle or whatever feel like an overland rig is to get one of these flappy down tables and fit them to your rear door. This is the area that we're going to be living out of, eating out of, doing all of our things out of here. There's going to be drawers and all sorts of fun things going on. And to be able to put a little cooker there or to hold something for a little bit is priceless. So, 50 quid off of Amazon, lovely aluminium table. I try to make one out of plywood, but you know what, sometimes it's worth just spending the 50 quid. But I started this journey on the back door weeks and months and weeks ago in the summer, I think the tail end of the summer. Let's jump back there and then we'll get back to this stage. Before I could start on the back door card, I had to deal with a rather floppy and frustrating rubber. This rear door seal is toast and it needs replacing because it's basically undone all of my hard work replacing the headliner. So there's two things I'd like to do in this video. One is replace this back door rubber, potentially all the other door rubbers, and also if you turn your attention to the back door, you'll notice it's horrible. So I thought I'd do something about it. This is the original back door card. And it's made out of some kind of terrible sort of pressed cardboard, hardboard thing and wrapped in a really lovely brittle vinyl. So I'm going to take this as a template and cut me a new one. This is 9mm ply. It's not anything particularly fancy, but first step is to mark it out and cut it out. And none of this is an exact science anyway, because the original door card has deteriorated into a soggy mess, and I would bet everything I own that the rear door itself isn't straight and square. So I'll make it a smidge bigger than it needs to be, and then slowly finesse it into position. Let's see if it fits. Obviously I knew it wasn't going to fit straight away. There are too many factors against me to let that happen, chief among which is the fact that I'm doing it. But I could see that it needed a little extra off around the lock, so back to measuring, back to marking and cutting. Now that it fits great around the lock, the side against the hinge doesn't, so back to marking and cutting again. It wasn't sitting as flush as I'd like, so I tried hitting it. Yeah, it's a South African technique, which actually works sometimes, but this time it didn't. And we'll get into why in a sec. But first, I should probably take a little minute to explain what all this is. There was a wiper motor here on the door, which went through there, and this is the feed for it. I didn't know what I wanted to do at the time, but I didn't want the motor on here because I'm going to put a molly panel on the back and there's just no point in trying to keep the back window clean. So I'm going to try and redirect this, but I want to keep this 12 volt line which runs up, and it's the demister. I want to see if I can run a 12 volt feed and put a light somewhere. So I want to keep that. That should squidge behind everything, hopefully. But this tangled mess will have to live, I guess, in this cavity here in case I ever want to put the rear windscreen wiper back on. When this Defender was in South Africa, I had a body shop remove some rust from the bottom of the rear door, and I think at some point they just cut the wire to the demister and then twisted the ends back together at the end of the job. I could also see that the cable wouldn't squidge behind the door card, so I opened up some pre-existing holes to feed the cable through the door frame instead. And then, for some unknown reason, I decided to try and solder the cable back together rather than just putting a connector block on it. I mean, I probably used about 1 meter of soldering wire, but eventually it worked and I taped it up. Now, back to why the door card wasn't sitting flush. Basically, I used the incorrect bolts when installing the wheel carrier. They were way too long and needed trimming. One day in the not so distant future, I'd like to remove those bolts and put in the proper size stainless ones. And while that cooled down, I thought I'd swap over the door seal. When removing the old seal, I noticed a notch to allow the seals to overlap. So keep that in mind when you install new seals. You'll need to cut out a little section with a pair of snips. It's a very simple install, but my gas strut got in the way, so I had to take it off. Then it's just a case of cleaning up and refitting the new one while remembering to cut the notch in the corners. I picked up a full set of door seals for around £70 from LR Parts. Now the new rear door seal will hopefully be a little more successful at keeping out water and dust. Clearly some time has passed as I now need a coat outside, and I've had a chance to visualize what the rear door table will be like once it's on. So the next step, now that I've got my piece of wood cut to the right size and shape and it fits okay, I need to line up and sort of figure out where I'm going to put the holes. I think trying to find the original holes is going to be really tricky, so I might have to drill some new ones. I want to get that all sorted out before I reveal what I'm going to do with that boring piece of ply to kind of zhuzh it up a little bit. But look, I'll be honest, lining up holes and making things fit perfectly is not my forte. However, I thought if I could get one hole and one riv nut in the correct position, I could then line up and drill all the new holes by drilling through the door card and making a little mark on the door frame showing me where to drill and install the riv nuts. Sounds good, right? Well, it didn't work. The rear door is so bent that once you actually tighten down the door card, it flexes, meaning the holes end up in the wrong place. But I was committed, and I still wanted to try and make it look nice. So I countersunk all the holes and prepared the back door card for what I was about to do next. Whoa, now I got a treat. We can all agree that this looks ugly, right? It's just a plain old dirty piece of ply. But I have a little trick up my sleeve, something that I saw, a Japanese technique for waterproofing and preserving wood, and it's called shosugiban. It's basically burning with fire. The exterior of this, they use it for cladding, cedar cladding. You're supposed to use cedar, but I have ply. I'm going to burn this with a blowtorch until it goes black, then I'm going to rub it down, and then I'm going to put a wood, like a beeswax, over it, and it's going to come out awesome. This is a little test I did. There you can see the countersunk screw, and it's so smooth, you can see the grains in it. Oh, it's so sick. It's sort of satiny, it's not gloss. It's awesome. Let's hope I have enough gas left in the propane burner thing. The thing I'm worried about the most is that it's going to warp with all the heat going into it, so I'm going to try and do little bits at a time, cool it down. I wanted to do something unique with this tour card because I love giving seemingly dull things a fighting chance at having a cool story. Genuinely didn't think I was going to have enough gas to finish that, but there it is. Now I've just got to sand it nice and evenly. I know it doesn't look even, and I don't think it ever will, and it has warped just like I expected it to, but hopefully I can pull it back, get a nice finish, and it's a thin enough ply that when it goes in it'll just comply to the back door, because the back door's bent anyway, so there's no straight lines with this project. After lightly sanding it down with a 180 and then 240 grit sandpaper, I applied a furniture beeswax polish to help seal it from water and give it a lovely satin finish. It needs to be wipeable, as it'll be right next to where a lot of the cooking gets done. Okay, that's it. Let's go and see if it fits. Let me be more positive. Let's go and see what it looks like. I think it's going to be amazing. It wasn't an exact fit, and 3 or 4 of the holes didn't line up at all. But I persevered into the night and tweaked and adjusted until it fit. The more I look at this, the more I love it. I mean, if you ignore all the horrible little mistakes and things. But as a cheap solution that's unique, I really, really love it. So now I'm going to fit this little flap down table. Should be really straightforward. I think it's 4 holes. And what I found out is that you can actually put riv nuts straight into the ply. I am blown away at my persistent, ignorant positivity. Yes, it was only 4 holes, but I still couldn't manage to do that properly. The problem was that I was rushing to get it all done before leaving for a meeting I had down in Brighton. The days are so short now in winter, and I wanted to get it done in the light. But because I couldn't seem to manage drilling a few holes in the correct place, it all took way longer than expected. I also noticed that as well as the 4 corner bolts which it came with, it also had provision for 2 extra bolts, one in the middle on each side. And my thinking was that because I'm using riv nuts in ply, it wouldn't be that strong, and I would need the extra 2 for strength. But now, of course, I had to get 6 holes in the right place. The top 2 went in okay, but the other 4 were a nightmare, and I was out of time, so I had to leave. Well, this is what happens when you have to fit filming these videos in between meetings. So I just come back from Brighton, and I got to finish this off because I'm heading out tomorrow, and this has got to be done. But I somehow have messed this up again, and it wouldn't be one of my projects if it wasn't messed up and the holes were in the wrong place. So I got to take it all off, re-drill some holes, and then hopefully it'll fit on the second time round. So, long story short, I had to drill out slightly bigger holes in the table frame because the riv nuts were a couple millimeters off center. I'm not sure how I messed it up, so I don't even know how to learn from my mysterious mistake. But I did get there in the end, and only 2 weeks later, I was able to film a little outro. Some videos just don't come together as easily. Well, there we go. It's only taken me, 3 months to finish this video, but it's in. It's finally done. This little table is fitted in, nice and strong. I really like it. I'm very pleased with how it turned out. I just don't like these little flimsy clips on the side. I think that's my biggest complaint. I know Frontrunner has one, but that's nearly £300, and I'm not spending that kind of money on a flap down table. No chance. I mean, I know theirs comes with a chopping board and all that, but how hard is it to just carry a chopping board, right? So there you go, $50. If you want one of these, I'll put a link in the description. Get one off Amazon. They're about $50 there or thereabout, and it does its thing. It says what it does, and it does what it says. I might in the future change the clips to some of those spring-loaded pins that can just go straight through there. But as is, it doesn't rattle. I've had it on for a couple of weeks now, and I've done some distance in it. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. It's nice and strong. It's very subtle. It's out the way, and I really like it. And so if you've enjoyed this video, please do consider subscribing and maybe sending it to a friend who's trying to do the same thing. Otherwise, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.